and welcome. My name is George Schlackeck. Now, I hope you can hear me well because I've been having trouble with this thing, but I'm trying it again. If not, I'll have to use the camera sound to complete this video. So we're going to see. Anyways, Barbara and I have been staying in Puerto Vallarta for almost 2 months now, and we're loving it here. I'm telling you, it's a fantastic place to spend some time. It's perhaps not the cheapest place in Mexico. We found that out right at the beginning of our trip. But there are ways that you can deal with it. And now, today, I'm looking back at almost 2 months, and I'm looking ahead of, there's only a little bit of time left right now that we're going to be here. And I'm already feeling, the kind of feeling that you get when you know you're going to miss a place a whole lot, and we don't really know when and if we're going to come back here, because usually when we go travel for the winter, we pick a place at random, and oftentimes we just go by something that we can afford and that we haven't experienced yet. This was the case with Puerto Vallarta. We've never been here before, but now, having been here 2 months, I know a bit about the place, and I can share with you the 5 things that I like the most, and then perhaps the 5 things that I don't. And that's what this video is about. Stay tuned. I'm going to start right now. Well, the number one thing I like about Puerto Vallarta, it's got to be the people. There's so many friendly people here. Mostly it's the locals, but even it rubs off on the tourists as well. When you meet people in the street, you usually get a smile and a buenas tardes, buenos dias, hola, ¿cómo van? People are friendly here. It may not go very deep, don't know, but whenever we needed help here, people were willing to help us out, to give us information. You name it, it's good here. We've been feeling very welcome here. And my book, that's a big one. Number 2 thing that I like in Puerto Vallarta, and that might seem obvious to a lot of people. Well, the climate. The climate is so comfortable. Now, we've been here January, February, dry season here, I guess. But the temperature is pretty much steady. Every day it goes in the high 20s. Sometimes 30. At night it may drop to usually 18, sometimes a little more. Kind of magic out here tonight. The sunset was beautiful. Sometimes it gets a little humid, then you sweat a lot. Some other times we shiver a little bit in the morning, but for the most part, I mean, look at me. I'm wearing a shirt and shorts, and this has been my attire the whole time. I do my laundry by hand, so does Barbara, and it's easy because there's always just 3 items to do. That's it. It's all you have to wear. Been wearing the Crocs the whole time. The climate here is super comfortable. Usually at night it's the most comfortable, but the entire day usually it's just fine. It's perfect. The number 3, and that is maybe not the same for everybody, but Barbara and I were both ocean lovers. So for the ocean to be right here, it's amazing. I like all the marine birds that are there. I like that I can go swimming in the ocean. The water is comfortably warm. There are also rivers leading into the ocean, which are a little bit cooler, but they're also fantastic to have. You can actually go swimming in there too, which we haven't done a whole lot, but there's a lot of activities on the beach all the time. Lots of tourists, of course. They're coming here for the same reason we do, because where we come from, it is cold weather. It's much more comfortable here, so we've made it our priority to do this in the winter, and Puerto Vallarta has not disappointed us. Another thing about Puerto Vallarta is there's awesome landscapes around here. It's a hilly area, so sometimes you wonder, how come I have to walk so far to reach a place that is only like a kilometer or so away, but you have to go all the way around because there are so many hills here. But there are places where you can go up in the hills and you get beautiful views without even flying a drone, which is something I like to do. Even at this point, after being here for 2 months, there's still more stuff that I'd like to explore. Maybe I have to come back sometime, but for now, the landscapes here are stunning and it's amazing. The number 5 thing I like, and this is probably something that is quite common in many places in Mexico, there are a lot of good places, stores, restaurants, taco stands. A lot of places that you want to visit to do business are in walking distance. If I want to get 12 eggs, or I want to get some pan, or anything you need, really, you don't have to go to the big box store. You can just go down the street to the little store and the prices are always almost the same. Restaurants, well, we can eat quesadillas and tacos right down the street, or we can walk a little bit further and there are a lot of places, all different price ranges, and again, the service is excellent. People are friendly. Can't beat it. Now there's one other thing that would be already number 6 that when I made this list, at first I left it off, but it is so important. Guys, the food here is fantastic. And I'm not talking about restaurant food here. I'm just talking about the stuff we pick up in the store. We pick up tomatoes, avocados, onions, eggs, you name it. It seems like everything tastes a little bit better than it does at home in Canada. And I don't really know why that is, if it's just imagination, but I have the feeling that because a lot of stuff is grown locally around here, and it doesn't have to go on a truck to get to a faraway place like Canada, it's a little better here. But I noticed that all the eggs we buy here, the yolks are bright orange. Whereas when I get eggs at home, unless I pay through my nose, like $7 for a dozen of eggs, the eggs are really pale. The yolks are really pale, and I'm wondering if that's some kind of deficiency. Fill me in on that. Leave me a comment. I'm not a food expert. Now let's get to the nitty-gritty, because there are also some things that I really don't like about Puerto Vallarta, and you might want to listen up if you want to come here for an extended period, because even if I'm not going to change your mind, which I probably won't, at least you know what to expect. There are some things I don't like. Number 1, the doggy poo. There are so many dogs here, guys, and a lot of them, mind you, it's not as many as in other parts of Mexico, but there are still a lot of stray dogs here. And there are also a lot of dogs here that go around the neighborhood. They belong to someone, but they roam around freely. And dogs, they have 2 holes. One of them is the one that makes a lot of noise, and the other one is where a lot of stuff comes out. There's a lot of dog poo on the road, on the sidewalks, everywhere. You cannot walk anywhere without keeping your eyes where you're stepping. Otherwise, you're going to step into dog poo. It's inevitable. There's so much of it here. Now, the other thing I said was about the noise. The neighborhoods here in Puerto Vallarta, where we are, where it's actually kind of a quiet part, because we're in a neighborhood where there isn't a lot of partying and tourism going on, but it's noisy here. You may hear this right now. There's somebody moving their car downstairs because the cobblestone's so rough, they'll spin their tires and whatnot. But also the buildings are made of concrete and they're close together. And the concrete doesn't absorb any sound. It just reflects it. So everything you hear is amplified by this. So sometimes at night, all it takes is somebody walks their dog through the neighborhood here. And woo, woo, woo. Every dog is going to bark at that. Or somebody comes home with an ATV and the muffler isn't perfect or something. Whoa, you hear it. It's so extreme. That's one of the things I don't like. That'd be number 2. Number 3, and this has to be said, this whole city is infested with cars. The streets in general, they're fairly narrow, but the traffic It's insane. I mean, I know Mexico from many, many years ago, and I don't think traffic was as much a problem as it is today. I think there always been a lot of traffic, probably especially in a place like this where tourism is a big deal. But boy, is it ever busy. And if you're a pedestrian or on a bicycle, they don't care about you. You have to wait and you have to run. When you're crossing the street and there's a bunch of cars coming, they don't like it when you have to slow down. You know, the cars here, they have the right of way. The cars are God. Did I say that? No, they're not God, but you get the picture, you know. You have to yield to the cars or it's your life. There's something else about the streets here that I don't like, and that's they're mostly cobblestone. And the cobblestone, well, first of all, you cannot walk on it very well. The sidewalks aren't that great here, so often you end up walking on the cobblestone streets. And it's rough, you know, you have to be careful where you're stepping. Besides the dog poo, sometimes you may twist your ankle just because it's so rough. On a bicycle, well, forget it, you know, you're bouncing around like crazy and you have to really keep a hand on the brake so you don't crash because there's a big crevice or a pothole. And by the way, they're fixing the streets like little bit at a time, like maybe 10 feet by 4 feet. Takes them a whole day to fix, put new cobblestones and concrete. It's interesting here, but I don't think I've seen it as bad as Puerto Vallarta anywhere else in Mexico. And you can't tell me that this is a traditional thing here or whatever. They do have some good streets that are concrete and they're really well done, but a lot of it's cobblestone and it's really, really rough. That already brings me to number 5, and I have another video about that one up here right now. That is the lack of good cycling routes. Now, Barbara and I, we came here, we bought bicycles here so we could get around better and we could do perhaps day trips on our bikes. There's one good bike lane that we discovered, and there are a few more here and there, but they don't meaningfully connect to anything. And for cycling, it's not that great here. There's no ciclovia on the weekend or anything like that that we know of. And the bike lane that we know of that goes actually somewhere, it only goes one way for much of the way, and it seems like they're building another part to it on the other side. But you know, there's 6, maybe even 8 or 9 lanes of traffic between the two sides. And these things are narrow and they go right by the bus stop where people are standing right in the bike lane to wait for the bus, or they're doing all kinds of things because the sidewalk's blocked. So bicycle infrastructure, guys, it sucks. My summary about Puerto Vallarta: weigh the good against the bad. There's more good here than bad. Puerto Vallarta is a beautiful town. It's a tourist destination, and I can see exactly why. It's an awesome place, guys. If you don't know where to go in the wintertime or whatever, Puerto Vallarta is a good place. Bring some cash or shop around like we did. It's not that bad, really. So the good definitely outweighs the bad. I can put up with a few things that I listed here any day to enjoy what is good about Puerto Vallarta. So there you have it, guys. Leave me a comment. What's been your experience if you've been here before? And do you agree with me, or is there something you might want to add, perhaps? Anyways, thank you for giving me the thumbs up for this video, even if you might not agree with everything I said. And I'll see you in the next video. And hey! You might want to check out the description. There's always some links there for you. I have some affiliate links down there. I even have merch. And there are more merch to come very soon because right now, yeah, it's kind of limited. So I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.